So, let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child. You know, that song where she absolutely drags the guy who never grew up? It's sharp, it's funny, and honestly, way too relatable. We've all met this dude, the one who acts like basic adulthood is rocket science. Today, we're breaking down every sarcastic jab, every eye roll lyric, and why this track hits so hard. Ready? Let's go! In the first verse, Sabrina Carpenter paints a vivid picture of a frustrating and one sided relationship dynamic. She starts by calling out her partner's flimsy excuse, claiming his phone was broken when he really just forgot to charge it. This small lie sets the tone for the verse, highlighting his immaturity and lack of accountability. It's a relatable scenario where someone avoids responsibility by making up a weak excuse instead of just admitting the truth. Next, she pokes fun at his outfit, sarcastically hoping it's ironic. This suggests that his style is either try hard or just plain ridiculous, and she's questioning whether he's self aware enough to realize it. The line implies that his personality might be just as mismatched or unserious as his fashion choices. Then, she throws in a biting remark. Did you just say you're finished? Didn't know we started. Here, she's calling out his arrogance. He's acting like he's done with something, maybe the relationship or an argument, when, from her perspective, nothing meaningful even began. It's a clever way of saying he's overestimating his own importance or efforts in the situation. Finally, she wraps up the verse with, "It's all just so familiar, baby. What do you call it?" This line suggests that his behavior isn't new. It's a pattern she's seen before, either with him or with other immature partners. The rhetorical question, "What do you call it?" is almost mocking, as if she's waiting for him to recognize his own childishness, even though she knows he probably won't. Overall, this verse does a great job of setting up the song's theme: a woman exhausted by a man who acts more like a clueless boy than an equal partner. The lyrics are sharp, sarcastic, and full of little digs that expose his lack of maturity, all while keeping a playful tone. The pre-chorus is short but packs a punch. It's where Sabrina Carpenter takes all the frustration from the first verse and boils it down to a blunt, almost playful insult. She starts by throwing out words like stupid, slow, and useless, directly calling out the man's incompetence. These aren't just random jabs, they're pointed criticisms of his behavior, his inability to take care of himself, his lack of awareness, and his overall reliance on her to fix things. But then, she flips it with the line, "But there's a cuter word for it, I know." This is where the sarcasm really kicks in. Instead of outright calling him dumb or lazy, she's implying that society, or maybe even she herself, has softened the blow by giving his behavior a more palatable label, like man-child. It's a way of saying that his immaturity is so obvious that it's almost laughable, and instead of getting angry, she's just naming it for what it is. The tone here is teasing but fed up, like she's so used to his nonsense that she can't even be fully mad anymore. Instead, she's almost making fun of the fact that this kind of guy exists and that women have to deal with him. It sets up the chorus perfectly because it transitions from venting about his specific flaws to the bigger idea that this is a pattern, not just a one-time annoyance. The pre-chorus is basically her rolling her eyes and saying, "Yeah, we all know what you are." The chorus is where Sabrina Carpenter fully leans into the song's central theme, calling out an emotionally stunted, dependent partner who drains her energy. She kicks it off with the blunt, catchy hook, "man-child," immediately labeling him as someone who's grown in age but not in maturity. The phrase, "Why you always come a running to me," suggests he constantly relies on her to fix his problems, play therapist, or clean up his messes, like a kid seeking a parent rather than an equal partner. There's a mix of exhaustion and inevitability here. She knows he'll keep coming back even though she's over it. The line, "F my life," is a raw, exasperated reaction to his behavior. It's not just annoyance, it's the realization that she's stuck in a cycle with him. When she follows it with, "Won't you let an innocent woman be?" there's a hint of dark humor. She's framing herself as some helpless victim of his neediness, even though she's clearly the one in control. It's sarcastic, as if she's mockingly pleading for freedom from his nonsense. Then she hits him with, "Never heard of self care. Half your brain just ain't there," which is both funny and brutal. The self care jab implies he's so clueless about basic emotional maturity that he doesn't even know how to take care of himself, while the "half your brain" line drives home the idea that he's not just lazy. He's genuinely lacking in awareness. It's not just criticism, it's disbelief that someone can function or fail to function this way. Finally, the repeated line, "taking all my loving from me," frames her affection as a finite resource that he's carelessly draining. It's not that she doesn't have love to give, it's that he's taking it without giving anything back, leaving her depleted. The chorus as a whole isn't just an attack on him, it's a reclaiming of power. By naming his behavior and calling it out so boldly, she's refusing to let him pretend this dynamic is normal. It's equal parts venting, mocking, and drawing a line in the sand. In verse 2, Sabrina Carpenter takes the critic of her man-child to another level by blending humor, disbelief, and a little bit of psychoanalysis. She opens with, "Why so sexy if so dumb?" a line that perfectly captures the frustrating contradiction many people face when dealing with an attractive but emotionally immature partner. It's almost like she's annoyed at herself for being drawn to someone who's clearly not on her level intellectually or emotionally. There's a self-aware shrug in these words, as if she's admitting that physical attraction complicates things even when the person is a mess. The next line, "and how survived the earth so long?" is pure sarcasm. She's marveling at how this guy has managed to exist as a functional human being, or barely functional, given how clueless he is. It's an exaggeration, sure, but it drives home the point that his lack of basic competence is almost impressive in its absurdity. Then comes, "If I'm not there, it won't get done," which highlights the uneven dynamic in their relationship. She's the one keeping things together while he's helpless without her, another classic trait of the man-child archetype. Finally, she drops the biting and hilarious conclusion, "I choose to blame your mom." This isn't just a random insult. It's a dig at the idea that his incompetence might be the result of being coddled or never taught basic life skills. It's also a cheeky way of avoiding full responsibility for his behavior. Instead of calling him irredeemable, she's jokingly passing the blame to his upbringing. There's a layer of truth here, though many immature adults are products of overprotective or permissive parenting, and Carpenter is calling that out with a smirk. Overall, this verse keeps the song's playful yet critical tone, mixing genuine frustration with witty exaggeration. It's not just about complaining, it's about pointing out how ridiculous the whole situation is, while also acknowledging why these dynamics persist. Bad parenting, physical attraction, and learned helplessness all play a role. The humor keeps it from feeling too heavy, but the underlying message is clear. This guy needs to grow up. The bridge is where Sabrina Carpenter flips the script and delivers some of the song's most biting yet self-aware commentary. She starts with, "Oh, I like my boys playing hard to get," which at first sounds like a typical dating preference, until you realize it's layered with irony. She's poking fun at the games people play in relationships, but in the context of the song, it feels more like she's mocking the idea that she'd even want someone who's emotionally unavailable. It's a setup for the real punchline, and I like my men all incompetent. This is where the sarcasm hits hardest. She's not actually praising incompetence. She's highlighting how absurd it is that society, or even her own patterns, might lead women to tolerate men who can't function as equals. The next line, "And I swear they choose me, I'm not choosing them," is a clever twist on victim blaming. She's sarcastically acting like these man children are somehow the ones pursuing her, as if she has no agency in the situation. But the subtext is clear. She's choosing them, at least subconsciously, and there's probably a reason for it. Whether it's societal conditioning, attraction to fixer-uppers, or just bad luck. The repetition of "Amen, hey men" at the end turns the whole thing into a mock prayer, as if she's resigned to this cycle and is half jokingly asking for divine intervention. It's playful, but there's a darker edge, like she's acknowledging that this dynamic is so common it feels inevitable. What makes the bridge so effective is how it blends humor with introspection. Carpenter isn't just ragging on immature men. She's also questioning why she, or women in general, keep ending up with them. The tone is tongue-in-cheek, but the message is real. Breaking these patterns starts with recognizing them, and maybe laughing at them along the way.